Okay, so I appear to have started part two at a really uninteresting point, which was a Backstage Divas segment. It was the Bellas and Kelly Kelly displaying that between them they obviously have an IQ of about 3. They were talking about potential buyers for Raw, and suggestions included Oprah, Paris Hilton, who has no money, don't forget this, well not no money, but cut out her inheritance, that's not the point, and Barack Obama again. This was a terrible segment. Rubbish, 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 rubbish. Then we got some really unpleasant footage of Batista's bicep surgery, and I was just like, I don't, it was really graphic, like, howking about in his biceps. It was horrible, like, oh God, like, just no. But the wonderful news that he will be out of action for several months, apparently. Yes. So, good stuff. Next we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Championship, which has been declared vacant. Like Callum said before, I don't know why MVP is not in this. MVP said last week he wanted in the mix, and he won his match. He should be a part of this. But no, the Big Show, who keeps getting beaten, is apparently a better contender. Lillian Garcia finally got the Big Show's weight right. She spent weeks, months even, introducing him as 441 pounds, and every time the commentators say, oh, Big Show's actually 485 pounds, because he'd clearly been eating far too much pizza. But, yeah, she finally got it right, so her incompetence isn't quite as staggering this week. This match started out absolutely dreadfully, as I would have expected. It was awful. It was sort of Cena and Big Show sort of wrestling each other, and Orton and Triple H wrestling each other, like two separate singles matches going on at once, kind of, and it was so slow. So we saw at WrestleMania that Orton and Triple H is not a combination that works in the ring at all, and the Big Show is just so slow and plodding, and this was so dull. Thankfully, it did pick up a bit and ended up being actually quite a good match, I felt. There was a bit where I was like quite excited because Cena was getting to actually dominate Triple H, and I was like, this never happens, this is really odd. And I was like, oh wait, no, there's the spine buster, Triple H is kicking the crap out of him. I was a little puzzled because Randy Orton went for the punt on the Big Show at some point, and the Big Show just kind of like caught his foot as if it was nothing and like countered it. Surely that makes everyone else who's been like put out of commission for months look like idiots that this move is so easily countered. But fair enough. I think there was a lot in this match of trying to make the Big Show look like really, really powerful, like you needed to really hit him with loads of offense to beat him, even though he always gets beaten after one attitude adjustment. There was a good point where the Big Show hit a spear on Triple H, which I don't think Triple H should have kicked out of, because I don't think Triple H, well, maybe Triple H, but I don't think any other wrestler would kick out of a Batista spear. Obviously the Big Show's a lot bigger and his spear was better, so I don't really see how that works. There was a good point where the Big Show countered the RKO, just chucked Randy Orton really far. That was quite cool, and like it was pretty good towards the end. But I didn't understand how you can counter the RKO and not counter the pedigree, because he didn't manage to counter the pedigree. He got pedigreed straight after countering the RKO, and that kind of annoyed me. But he got pedigreed, and then Cena attitude adjusts Triple H, taking Triple H out of the match, and then attitude adjusts the Show, and then Orton appears out of nowhere, having not really been that involved in the match, throws Cena into the ring post, shoulder first, and then hits the worst RKO I've ever seen on the Big Show and pins him to win. Thank fuck for that. I thought Orton would win this, but I'm not convinced that he'll hold the title for very long. But I kind of thought he would win this. But I was fearing that it was going to be Hunter again. But yeah, the finish was pretty decent, quite well worked, much better than I was expecting really overall. It just started off bad. So Vince appears at this point after the break to announce the buyer of Raw. Got literally no pop. Literally nothing. Again, fuck off crowd. And it occurred to me about 15 seconds before he actually announced who it was going to be, and I was mortified. Donald Trump, the world's least charismatic man, the man who once said in an interview, "If she wasn't my daughter, I'd probably be dating her." is now the new owner of Raw. I'm sure he isn't really the new owner of Raw. This is obviously totally kayfabe, but this was terrible. There was supposed to be some kind of interaction between McMahon and Trump, obviously, here, because Trump was saying some really harsh stuff about McMahon, but Trump was obviously just reading off a script and just talking over Vince and giving the most wooden promo delivery I've ever seen. This really depressed me. I was like, oh god, Raw is sinking to new depths. Donald Trump, that was bad enough last time. Fuck off. Anyway, he berates McMahon for a while, says he doesn't appreciate the fans, and then he says that his first decision is he's going to make Raw commercial free next week. So 2 hours, no commercials. That was the big announcement, and nobody seemed to care. And they kept talking about it all show, and nobody seemed to give a shit. So this is all very anticlimactic. And McMahon announces that there will be a 10-man over-the-top rope battle royal to determine the number one contender for the Bash to face Randy Orton later in the evening. Should be interesting. Next we had a Divas match. It's not worth talking about because it was fucking terrible. Mickie James beat Rosa Mendes. Even Mickie James can't make Rosa Mendes look good. This was shocking. Shouldn't have happened. Fucking rubbish. Trying to highlight that Maurice is scared of Mickie James. The only way that the way they're doing this could turn out well is if Maurice actually beats Mickie James, which I don't want to happen because Mickie James is a great wrestler, but otherwise this has all become far too obvious. They're playing it out too long. Also, Beth Phoenix needs back in the title picture. I will talk about women wrestling on a separate occasion because I feel quite strongly about the way it's going. Anyway, next segment, strange segment, we had Goldust and Hornswoggle, fucking Hornswoggle, appear in the ring, and they are shooting t-shirts into the audience out of a cannon. The Miz appears and interrupts them though, and delivers a promo saying that Trump should make him the face of Raw, and that he's going to win the Battle Royal and eliminate John Cena in doing so. But he's not just going to be a champion, he wants to be some kind of merchandise hound, his face on everything, basically having a go at how much merchandise is dedicated to Cena. Did a very strange English accent and impersonated Oliver Twist, being like, "Do you want some more?" or something like that. It was very odd. Goldust responds with a promo that was actually lackluster by Goldust standards. I don't think I ever thought I'd say that, but I didn't think it was that good. He says that The Miz has disappointed him, he has no imagination in the mind games he plays with Cena. And he reminds us all of the wonderful occasion when, to get in the head of Ahmed Johnson, he used mouth to mouth. Don't really think anybody wanted to be reminded of that. Not very good gimmick. But he also says that The Miz should change his name to The Wiz, because that's what everyone gets up to take when he starts talking. I, for one, think The Miz's promo is great, but that might just be me. And apparently he translates some noise that Hornswoggle makes into, "The reality check is The Miz is a loser." This segment was pretty weak. I didn't really enjoy it all that much. The Miz says that Goldust is in no position to preach about success in professional wrestling because he's had several stints in WWE and he can't capture his previous success. Goldust was cool and funny in 1999, although actually in terms of success was probably at his peak in about 1996, but nobody mentioned that. But cool and funny in 1999, but a total unfunny joke in 2009 and not worth the Miz's time. Which is true. Goldust really isn't worth anybody's time anymore. He probably should be. Like, he's better than Matt Hardy, for example. But what can you do? He then hits Goldust in the head of the microphone and hits that thing, that weird DDT thing he does when people are on their knees, which I don't actually like all that much as a finisher. And then he gets the t-shirt gun and backs Hornswoggle into the corner, makes him get on his knees, and fires it into Hornswoggle, which must have really hurt. Compressed air like that must really hurt. I fucking love that. It's fucking brilliant. Any pain that I can see inflicted on Hornswoggle is fucking fantastic. The little shit. But I missed heel Jerry Lawler during this, because in the old days, like, you'd had Cole being like, "That's just uncalled for. He's just a punk bully," which is what he said. And Cole calling anyone a punk is ridiculous. But the King was saying, "Oh, that's just ridiculous. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? The only thing I'd like to see the Miz's face on is a milk carton," which was quite funny. But in the olden days, King would have been like, "Yes, haha, those losers, Goldust and Hornswoggle, blah 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 blah," which would have been much much better. So, okay, this is going on forever. I apologise. I'm going to have to make a part 3 because I'm running out of time. I will try to be brief, but flick over if you can. Cheers.